I do want to take a couple minutes. Let's preview the Monday night game real fast. Is there anything that you want to talk about regarding the fantasy players involved here? I mean, is this a game where McCoy, the reports have come out that New England's going to focus on them. Their running defense is very good. They're going to focus on McCoy and make Taylor beat them, but do you still expect McCoy to have a big game?
I still think he'll be a very, very solid play. I mean, we had this last week of the Jets in prime time against Shady McCoy, and he rattled off a huge game. So I'm not concerned about McCoy. I was a little bummed I couldn't be here for the Amendola talks.
Well, yeah. That would have been nice because we had a bit of a debate.
Because I am on Team Amendola.
Right, and I am on Team he's not going to be as good as Edelman. I'll be on Team Edelman is my name.
Well, Edelman's going to get 0 points this week.
Yeah, you're going to lose that.
Well, I don't have a somebody facing off against Amendola. I just don't like him as much as you do. That's it.
Oh.
And it makes me seem like I don't like Amendola, which I do. I just know that a report came out this week. They're going to limit his snaps to keep him healthy.
Yeah,
he's not Edelman.
And
his name's Danny Amendola.
And I'm actually not concerned at all about that report. The report doesn't make sense to me because Amendola's injuries are just a one-snap type of a situation, and you can't predict when he's going to get hurt.
Well, you can overwork a guy and they get hurt. That's what happens.
But the reason I think that report was a little bit irrelevant was because they were going to limit him to what they already had limited him when Dion Lewis went out for those games, and he had great games in the same exact snap.
Yes, he had okay games.
Yeah.
He did not have Julian Edelman production, and he will not.
Well, he beat Julian Edelman.
There's got to be a bet here. There has to be a bet here because I just insist upon the fact that he's not going to be Edelman replacement, and depending on what you paid for him and what you expect from him, he'll have games. He'll have great games.
This debate, this conversation is what everybody's going to be watching for tonight. Is one of those like, what are the Patriots going to do with their offense minus these two key players? Does James White get involved? Does Amendola step into the role?
Dobson's going to be more involved than he was.
Yeah,
Keyshawn
exactly.
Martin.
Yeah, so you've got all
Keyshawn
sorts
Martin is the wild card for me. I think Dobson stinks.
I just know the game plans change. I don't want – hey, our listeners should not go into tonight's game and say, Amendola caught 5 passes. Andy's an idiot. I think Amendola's great. I spent money on fab on him in every league I'm in. He's just not as good as Edelman, and people who think he's going to come set the world on fire, I think, are going to be very disappointed.
Well, and the problem that I have is that if Amendola comes out tonight and scores 20 fantasy points and has a wonderful game, I don't know that you can just go, okay, he's going to do this week in, week out.
Maybe.
Because
maybe
it's the
you
Patriots.
Can. Maybe you can. But you're right. I know what you're saying. You're making the point for me where one game you have one battle plan, and it involves 29 carries by LeGarrette Blount, and the next week you've got 3 carries by LeGarrette Blount, and Brandon Bolden's catching like 5 passes in the slot for no reason.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just that trepidation.
Yeah,
So,
I like him.
I would love him to succeed. I've got Brady. I'd like Brady to succeed. So something we've been sorely lacking in. You better bring your game. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Mailbag.
Yeah.
Perfect.
How many of those did you hear last week?
2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. One.
My favorite was when he forgot to do it.
Yeah.
And it was just, mailbag.
He did not completely forget.
That's
he
true.
did remember.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I just had to play catch up.
All right. If you got a question for the show, you want to send one in to us. This is the time of season where these decisions, they get big. They get big. The playoffs are coming. You're fighting for a spot. You can go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, click the Submit a Question button. Another great way to get your questions answered, not just by us but by other listeners, is to go to jointhefoot.com and check out the wall there. You can post your question. People will answer, as will we when we hop in there. And Tej in LA wants to know. He says,
What's up, Tej?
I love this question.
He said, so I sat Jeremy Hill.
And I apologize. He was my sit of the week. Those two stupid touchdowns on the goal line.
So I sat Jeremy. Well, everybody sat Jeremy Hill. Yeah. So I sat Jeremy Hill. I knew the instant he plopped his tush on the bench, he'd spite me. I could have flexed him. Now I'm down by 8 points. Who do you think can get it for me? Is it Keyshawn Martin, Robert Woods, Charles Clay, or Scott Chandler? For me, this is
standard.
This is Charles Clay before it is anybody else. And then it is probably Woods, Chandler, Martin.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Clay.
Yeah, Clay's the best choice here if he's taken, which obviously I would assume he's not. I think I like Chandler more than Woods because if you're going for 8 points, you need that touchdown. Chandler could be used, but I would do Clay above anyone else here.
We didn't talk about him earlier. What do you guys expect from Sammy Watkins tonight?
I think he can have an okay game tonight. It's interesting because we were talking about with the LeSean McCoy, where Bill Belichick is a master of this is what you do the best, so you're not going to be able to do it. So will Sammy Watkins be able to step up? Because we know the focus is going to be on the running defense. So can Watkins step up and have a decent game? And I believe the answer is yes.
All right, I got a question here from Stefano in Minnesota, and it's going to be rapid fire, okay?
Right.
This is a tough one. Is Char West okay? Is Lynch okay? Is Freeman okay? Why Forsett? Why? How am I supposed to get Buck Allen and Rawls if I am last in line on the waivers? What just happened? Where am I? Can you answer all of those?
I can answer them all.
Okay.
Lynch is not okay. Char West is not okay. Forsett might be back next year. So he is not okay.
Okay, not okay.
If you are last in line of priority, you are not getting any of these players, and you need to start a petition for Fab because Fab is the way to go.
Yeah, that is a crazy injury world we've lived in this year, to be honest. I mean, it feels like something we haven't seen. We're the top 10 guys, you know. Char West very arguably could have been best dressed of season. Running back. I mean, you're probably still going to start Gurley and Peterson ahead of him, but schedule-wise, how he's been performing and how this game started. I mean, he had 48 yards of receiving yards in 2 seconds. So Josh in Arkansas wants to know who to start, Brandon Lafell or Sammy Watkins tonight.
That's a very fair question. I expect both these guys to be near each other, but I'm going to go with Lafell just because I trust Tom Brady more. And with those weapons down, Lafell might get a little bit more red zone work.
I think Lafell has a safer floor of if you just need a few points here, but Watkins has the ceiling. So if you need huge points, you got to go with Watkins.
For me, I think Lafell benefits from the Edelman injury in terms of a couple extra targets. He was my start of the week, so I have to go with Lafell. So, all right, that is it for today. That is it for today's show. We got our waiver wire show tomorrow. Hope you enjoy the Monday Night Football game. Be sure to check out the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Visit our Twitter page @theFFBallers. If you want to follow us individually, each of us here, you can follow Jason @JasonFFL. You can follow Mike @FFHitman. Happy to have you back, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back, America.
And you can follow me @Andy Holloway if you want to see me talk about Marcus Wilson. That's pretty much all I do on it. I did bring him up Sunday morning. I said, hey, roll him out once Jeffrey was out there.
I didn't blame you.
Marcus Wilson only succeeds if Jeffrey and Royal are out together. But then he had a good game. So what else is going on here? You can check us out on YouTube. We are on the Fantasy Sports Network, which, by the way, the Fantasy Sports Network is now hitting Apple TV.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that. So if you wanted to watch us on your Apple TV, we're on the Fantasy Sports Network. And, yeah, it's going to be a good week.
And so I need some fantasy juju tonight. From a
Tell them
guys.
what's going on so people can follow along with you.
I have an interesting situation here, and I really think that the fantasy karma is going to bounce back.
It is funny. It is really
direction.
funny.
Last week, on my drive to Disneyland, I was in a tough matchup. I ended up being the second highest scoring team of the week, and I lost by 10 points because Willie Snead gave me 0 points.
Yeah, you weren't happy.
In what was one of the top over-unders of the week, which is why I went with Snead. And I had Fitzgerald was on my bench with enough points to have who I could have withstood a victory.
Yeah,
there you go. Player Fitzgerald. Fast forward to this week. I am the lowest scoring team of the week playing against the second lowest scoring team of the week.
You had Forsett, Phillip Rivers.
The Eagles defense. I mean, everything that could go wrong went wrong for my team.
And you're still going to win.
I still have a chance to win, and because I have Lafell, Amendola, and Shady McCoy tonight. So I need the fantasy juju to redeem what was stolen from me last week.
It would just balance out, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
You get a 70-point win, and you lost with 140, and then those are the toughest things in fantasy. It really is. So, we'll see what happens tonight. It'll be fun to see what that New England offense can do without Edelman and Lewis. Can they stay, big Rex on Monday night?
We just need like 3 Amendola touchdowns tonight.
That's all. No big deal.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.